I do that all the time. Okay, I think everybody is ready to start. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you. What a wonderful turnout it is. So excited. My name is Kathleen Orovitz. I was recently appointed the new president and CEO. So I am CEO-elect. And we're very fortunate to have our current president and CEO with us, Gary Furtado. It's in the back there. And you know, I think this morning we're here, we're gathered to talk about a very exciting initiative, building bankable businesses. You're going to hear much more about this from our presenters. And we would not be here without the creative work and really partnership of Papitto Opportunity Connection and the Rhode Island Hispanic Chamber. You know, you'll hear about this, but I think what's important, what strikes me, is that we were formed 107 years ago at the Notre Dame parish for one simple purpose, and that is to provide access to financial services and access to banking services. And at that time, it was the French Canadian community. And I think we all know that has evolved, the population has evolved, but our mission to provide those services has never wavered. And it couldn't be more true today with the program that you'll hear about. You know, it's exciting because we're here talking about the city of Central Falls. This is our flagship branch, and we continue to invest. We've done a lot of business in this room, and we continue to. And just last week, we were able to give our first grant to the city of Central Falls for the newly created community center. We were so excited to do that. Tim and Gary were able to present that, and that just demonstrates, you know, what we believe is important in the community for the residents. And then on the flip side, the vital small businesses, they are the lifeline to what we do, all of us. And what you'll hear about this program is it not only removes the obstacles of being able to get access to lending, but it's also the foundation from which these small businesses need to be able to be bankable on their own and get that financing. I mean, it's great to be able to give that one-stop loan or that first loan, but what happens in the future? We want these businesses to grow and thrive. This program is designed to do just that. And I won't steal any more thunder. It gives me great pleasure to invite up the mayor, Maria Rivera, from this great city of Central Falls. Mayor?
Thank you, President. Good morning. It's so nice to be here with all of you. I'd like to give a special thanks to the Papitto Opportunity Connection, Navigant Credit Union, who has been crucial here in the city of Central Falls with helping us with so much, and the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for this important program and helping our small businesses. This new microloan program will accelerate the abilities of our Latino community. In Central Falls, where most of our residents and small businesses are Latino, I've witnessed firsthand how socioeconomic barriers can hold families and businesses back. Even though we've seen some statewide small business programs in place over the last few years to aim to support businesses, we know that cultural, language, and socioeconomic barriers have stood in the way of many businesses accessing the needed funds. And during such challenging times, the lack of access to desperately needed capital stops businesses from maintaining or growing their success. We all know how devastating this pandemic has been to our businesses. I saw it firsthand when we had to go from business to business to try to help them as much as we can. There are many challenges that our businesses face here, starting with the language barrier, starting with them being able to fill out an application, and nonetheless using a computer, because many of them just don't know where to even begin. They count on us for all of that support. This is a new chapter of opportunity. I look forward to our city supporting this program in any way possible to help our Latino small businesses community understand this amazing opportunity. Thank you again for being here, and thank you all for this opportunity and for really believing in our community of Central Falls and our businesses.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning to Senator Cano, who is a personal friend of all of us here at Navigant Credit Union. We talked a little bit before you came in on how much business we've done in this room, and without the work that you've done, we wouldn't be able to continue it. So thank you. I'm so glad you're here. And so next up, it brings me pleasure to invite Oscar Mejias, CEO of the Rhode Island Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Good morning. Thank you everybody for being here. I want to start recognizing some officials here. As Senator Sandra Cano, thank you for being here. You have been a very important component in this program. The Councilwoman from Cranston and Deputy Secretary of State, Miss Vargas. I want to say hello to City Council President of the City of Central Falls. Thank you for being here, Jessica. It's important to support. And of course, all of you, our partners, thank you for all your help and your support. I should start saying that the mission of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, which is represent, promote, and support the economic development of the Latino business community. Based on that, we have been working hard in the last 6 years to provide the resources, the information, education to our small business owners. We have program in technical assistance, we have educational program, we have in technology, supporting technology, and I think that orientation and guidance has been critical to help our business. And today we have more than 850 members registered, and I always say that it's not just a number. They are active, they are making calls, they are asking for resources, they want to be more active and participate in the economic development of the city, which is really, really important. Last year, I had the pleasure to be invited by Papitto Opportunity Connection to collaborate in a project that they were thinking, connecting with communities. We organized some roundtables in Central Falls, Newport, and Providence, and we have the opportunity to connect with several business owners and entrepreneurs. As a result, that was a confirmation of something that we know from a long time ago about the need of access to capital. Most for those entrepreneurs that they have the idea, they have the knowledge, they take incubator programs or entrepreneurial training, but they didn't have the economic support to start a business. Of course, going to asking for loans, that was very complicated, very difficult, because they were not bankable. They didn't have a good credit score or history with the bank, so it was complicated to get access to capital. With this program, we started a conversation with Papitto Opportunity Connection, and we thought that there could be a great opportunity to change that. And we come up with this project, the microloan program, and we call Building Bankable Business. Sandra Cano, who I recognize has been a key component, that was our first conversation. And of course, let's do it, let's make it happen. And we started a conversation with Navigant Credit. It was interesting sessions, working session, and I want to recognize that they show the intentionality to help, the interest in let's see how we can do to make it a reality. I don't know, 5, 6, 7 meetings, Zooms with David, checking, no, we need to change, we need to verify all the legal implications and all the stuff. And I think that that's great. And for my personal point of view, the intention to collaborate has made the difference. So thank you, and I appreciate too much that. So we created a program. We started the program, we launched it in March 2022 as a pilot project. And until now, we have provided 26 entrepreneurs and small business with capital to start, to hire employees, to buy the machine that they need to start, to register with the state, to pay for the licenses. And that is the goal. Our goal is to give them the opportunity to start. Today, we will have the testimonial of some of those business owners that will show us how that makes a big difference between wait until I have my credit score and I can bankroll, or start right now with the help of this program. So I want to just mention briefly what are the benefits of this program. To help Latino entrepreneurs and micro business owners to create a history with a financial institution that increase access to capital for non-bankable business, increase access related resources such as training and technical assistance. We are not just giving the money, we are teaching our business owner about financial responsibility, about what is financial literacy, and providing financial coaching. Of course, that enhances the local economy, supporting important segments of the economy, and is an effective means of supporting entrepreneurial development in neighborhoods and creating needed community goods and services. This program consists in loans starting at $500 up to $5,000 with a time to repay up to 5 years, interest rate 1%, and after 24 payments, the business owner have the opportunity to apply for a forgiveness. If they have been using the funding for what is the initial proposal and paying in the right way, they qualify for a forgiveness of the loan. They have technical assistance to complete the application. We have a specific resource to collaborate, and I want to say thank you to Andrea Del Carmen, member of our staff who is in charge of the program, and Julia Lombardo, who has been very, very helpful with this process. Thank you very much. Once the application is reviewed and all the requirements are approved, Rhode will send, Hispanic Chamber will send a certificate of approval to Navigant Credit Union, who will provide the fund. So this is something that for us has a huge, it's very significant that we can help more and more business. I want to invite other stakeholders, other financial institutions, the city, to understand and participate in this program that could create a real change in the economy of our state. We will generate more jobs, we could help to create more business, and at the end that will be translated to improve in the economy of our communities and our state. So thank you, Papitto Opportunity Connection, for your generosity collaborating with the funding for this project, Navigant for the great partnership, and how we have been working together is remarkable. Thank you very much. I want to say thank you to our board of directors, and I want to mention Carlos Vargas, who is a board director in our board, and he has been critical in this project, but also all the business owners that want to participate, that are showing that they want to do better, and is what the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is trying to promote. Let's improve our business, let's improve our economy. So once again, thank you very much for the support of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Oscar. That was terrific. So next up is our partner, John Tarantino, not to be confused with Quentin Tarantino, complete opposites, we just talked about that. Managing trustee of Papitto Opportunity Connection, and you'll hear a little bit more about the great work that he's done. It's just a pleasure to meet you, and thank you so much. Come on up, John.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much. I am the managing trustee of the Papitto Opportunity Connection, and unlike Navigant, which has a 100+ year history, we're a baby. We were formed on December 1st of 2020, so we're not even 2 years old. But on the very first day that we were formed, we gave our first grant of $600,000. We wanted to make sure that we started out the right way. And in that less than 2 years, we've given more than $50 million in grants, loans, microloans, scholarships. The entire mission of Papitto Opportunity Connection is to improve and ultimately to transform the lives in our communities of color in this state. And we are serious about fulfilling this mission. How do we go about demonstrating that we're serious? Well, obviously giving money or providing funds, that's one way. But it's more than that. It's more than that. Before we gave money, we went into every one of the communities and we met with the leaders in every one of the communities of color in our state. We didn't want to assume we knew what those communities needed. We wanted to know what those communities needed. And they were different. They shared many concerns, they shared many needs, but some were very unique to specific communities. And after we had met with the communities of color and their leadership, and after we felt that we had gained trust, that's when we started to make our grants. And that's when we started to make our loans. And that's when we started our scholarship programs. And it's worked extremely well. We are the only foundation of our size in the country that has an entire board that is made up of persons of color. Now, I'm a trustee. I'm a trustee under a will that goes back a long time ago, so I'm Italian-American, but I'm not a person of color. But every member of our board is a person of color. All different communities in our state. The Latino community, the indigenous people, Southeast Asians, South Asian, African-American. And the program, or a similar program, I should say, they're all a little bit different because, again, the needs of each community is a little different. But similar programs to what Oscar has described, we also have made available in the African American community, in the Southeast Asian community, in the South Asian community, and the indigenous people community. So our goal is to make sure that the so-called unbankable, and I really don't like that word. I don't like the word that someone is unbankable. It makes it sound like they or their business is less worthy. My view is we're all people. And every one of the persons who gets a loan, they care about their business, they care about their family, they care about their community, and they all share this. They all want to do better. They all want to improve individually and for their communities. And when you have that attitude, then the community is going to improve. You have mayors like Mayor Rivera, who has been an incredible partner with us, really, introducing us to specific needs in this community and other communities. That's what we are here for. We have a motto or a slogan, we're here to listen and we're here to help. And for many of the communities, there was no one to listen. There was no one to listen and hear the voices of those communities. We're here to listen and we're here to help. And these microloans, the 500 to 5,000 range, those are going to help. Those are going to help, and they're going to help to bridge that gap. So there's a history now with a great institution like Navigant or some other bank or some other credit union. So that person, that business, no longer would ever be considered unbankable again. But as they grow, as those businesses grow, we're still going to be here. We have our own loan program. The Papitto Opportunity Connection has our own loan program, and we loan up to $99,000. So some of the smaller businesses who start out with a small $2,000, $3,000 loan that gets them off the ground, well, maybe in a year or two, they're going to be ready to expand and hire more people or get into a new line of business. And then they can come back to us and say, now we'd like to be considered for one of your larger loans. And we've given more than $2.5 million on the larger loans so far. So we want to be part of this community. We want to be part of all of our communities of color. And one day, I would hope I'm still alive when we just talk about our communities, our state. There are no longer Southeast Asian communities, African American, Latino. We're all one state. We are all one people. We are brothers and sisters. That's our mission. And thank you very much for helping to support it.
Wow, thank you, John. So eloquent, and that's exactly the purpose and why we're all here. Those are the missions that we're trying to continue and move forward. So again, it takes a partnership, right? And part of that is us understanding the need, to your point, John, and what's available and how can we assist. And that's really where Carlos, Randy, Dave, Sandra, they're the ones saying, okay, now how do we connect to that? And so up next is Dave DeCubellis, our Senior Vice President, Chief Lending Officer, and he's going to talk a little bit about our side of the work and how we feel about this. So Dave, come on up.
Good morning. Thank you. Earlier this year, Oscar approached our community development team at Navigant with the idea of turning a grant opportunity into a lending concept. This included ensuring that the program would enrich community businesses by granting access to an innovative business solution that could build a bankable business financial profile. Entrepreneurship can present multiple hurdles that challenge businesses. For example, not having sufficient working capital when you don't have an established financial record could present a mountain to climb in becoming successful. Additionally, with the uncertainty of tomorrow's economic conditions, all the while trying to recover from post-pandemic financial troubles, can stress relationships with the thought of no end in sight. Talking to Carmen earlier about your business, you experienced similar things, right? This program assists in the temporary financial relief that creates a long-standing financial impact for those it serves. Since March 15, 2022, the Building Bankable Business Program has originated. I had 24, but 26, you're right, for over $90,000. This program addresses support for businesses by infusing capital, offering loan forgiveness after a consistent payback history of affordable on-time payments. Becoming a bankable business is the first step in establishing a pathway for creditworthiness, lending and investment opportunities, exposure to other bankable products and services to support future growth. Navigant Credit Union has a long history of addressing obstacles with creative thinking and common sense lending. We are honored that we can assist in our part in creating financial wellness for the people of our communities, and I'm privileged to take part in the support of the program. Thank you.
So this sounds great, but I think the proof is in the pudding. And so, Oscar mentioned testimonials. We're very, very fortunate to have 3 business owners with us, and I hope that you will come up and tell your story, 1 or 2 minutes, because I think that's really what's connecting all of the things that you've heard. So first up, come on up. Anybody who wants to come on up. Carmen. It is Carmen Rodriguez, and I have your brochure, and I heard a little bit about your story earlier, so please, why don't you tell everybody?
Okay, for me, I'm very proud to be here with all of important people. I never thinking I can meet here, but thank you to Oscar because helped me with my small business. I started before the pandemic, but the pandemic don't let me. And I continue working by myself, but then I decide I got classes with a greenhouse program, and they helped me to start to establish my business. Then I meet Oscar again when I start my business, and I say he want to help me. And that's right, I'm here because the community needs to be involved in creative activities. That is my Lunita house. I also have decoration and things for the house, but my program is help the people with creativity, painting, and also for the kids, but also for the big people. And thank you, Oscar, and all the people here to help me. It's great to be here. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thanks, Carmen. Marjorie Ortiz is up next.
Hi, good morning. I'm Marjorie Ortiz, and owner of the Marjorie Beauty Studio. And thank you, Oscar, the Hispanic Chamber, because it's more scary for me right now, because when the microloan I use it for new technology and the machine for add new service in my studio. Thank you again.
And Glenda Fagan.
Hi, everybody, and thank you, Oscar. I started Key Treats, and it's doing custom cookies, and I was doing logo cookies with a printer, but with the loan that you guys provided, I was able to buy a machine that actually prints your logo or your picture directly into the cookie. And that's what we do. We do custom cookies for any occasion, birthday parties, graduations, weddings, corporate events, and that's it. Thank you.
And now we're hungry. But I think, yeah, next up is we would love to take some questions. We have certainly time for that, so we can kick that off. Pat?
Yeah, Ms. Orvis, particularly as a banker, you're aware of the difficulty in first-generation Americans, first-generation businesses, of getting even secured loans, automobiles, heavy equipment, where there's some level of securitization. This program, will it enable, for example, there'll be successful credit reporting, Dun & Bradstreet, all of the normal steps taken in a successful business loan?
Right, and that's a great question, Pat. So we've all touched upon it a little bit, but I think that what is so exciting about this one is just what you said, is we're reporting these on-time payments to all the bureaus, all of these third-party agencies that are so needed in a traditional financing model. And so, and we're not just walking away. Not only does the chamber continue to work, but our relationships and engagement. So there's going to be things that happen, right, in the economy. Dave alluded to it. Just nature of your the cycle of your business. We're going to continue to engage, monitor, talk, and as those needs change, we're going to be there as partners. So the goal at the end of this is that they completely have that profile and foundation to do traditional lending. So it doesn't necessarily have to always be one-for-one collateral, in that securitization as you referenced.
Now, in addition to that, is there opportunities for employees and members also? I mean, one of the great challenges in arriving in this country is getting it banked. And something as simple as an ATM card, which we take for granted, or to participate in the digital economy is a challenge for folks. So is that going to be part of the services as well?
It's immediately part of it. And the work that Randy does and Julia, who was employed by us, this is the work that we do every day. So you're not only going to get the checking account or the operating account or the payroll account, you're going to have the necessary access to do payroll, to be online, to do your account payables. You have to have full access, right? It's great that we have the microloan because you can purchase that printer and you can continue to grow, but it's about the access and then how you're reaching out with technology to gain more customers. So we do recognize that as equally important. And Randy, please jump in.
Sure, and what we also do is what we think, we're just trying to do that little bit extra, is also we monitor the accounts.
Right.
Okay, because with cultural differences, language differences, things that could possibly, again, as we say, that's what we take for granted, that the billing, that all the things, and if they move, sometimes, filling out or notifying, all those little things that could actually hurt their credit if for some reason a payment isn't made. We actually monitor and we notify the chamber and we say, hey, look, can we connect with them? Is there a problem? Did something happen that maybe the dog did eat it or something or whatever? But just to make sure that we're not setting them up for some type of failure, but to ensure the success. So that's part of the things that we do, and it's kind of a manual process, but yet we're committed to it. And Julia, who processes the loan, she does a lot of work with that, and she monitors. There's also an educational component that she goes through and will explain the different products. Again, we take for granted on ATM card what you can do with it, what the costs are, and she goes through in detail, as well as the educational portion that the Hispanic Chamber does on their end. Beforehand, they do some financial education with us.
Thank you. I just had one quick question, if you will, for Mr. Tarantino. We had the opportunity to cover a couple of events and what's being referred to as the Black Bloc in Pawtucket, which your organization is fundamental in developing, really, literally from the ground floor. What other neighborhoods are you looking at in the state? Anything you can tell us?
We're in all of the core cities, so we have many grants and businesses that we fund in Woonsocket, in Pawtucket, in Providence, in Central Falls, in Newport. So all of the core cities, we've had focus groups and events in every one of those cities, Cranston as well. And the purpose is to try to understand what is the particular need in every one of those communities. They're all a little bit different. And once we understand the need and once we understand what can we do consistent with our mission to help, then we have meetings. It may be a grant if it's a 501c3, and our grants have ranged from a few $1,000s to more than $10 million, or a scholarship program for students who need to pay for college or grad school or technical school, healthcare assistance, education, entrepreneurship, anything that we believe is a need, either immediate or long-term in a community. Once we learn about it, we do everything we can to try to address it.
So Mr. Papitto's legacy will be to go into some of the most challenged communities, some of the best communities in Rhode Island, but some of the most financially challenged communities.
Many of these communities in Rhode Island, Providence, and Newport, there are really wealthy people in those communities, and there are people who are very poor in those communities. But it's one city, it should be one city, one community. It shouldn't be something that's of interest to this neighborhood only, or this block, or that segment, or this nationality, or that race. The community is the community. The people who live in that community all should feel the same about their community. They should all want their community to go forward, because when they do, the entire community rises. The entire community rises. And as more and more communities rise, our entire state rises. And the beautiful thing about the state of Rhode Island is the fact that we get teased a lot about how small we are. But it's a beautiful thing in the sense that you can make an enormous difference in a state of our size with the kinds of work that we and others and our other partners are doing. So I don't know how many more years God gives me on this earth. I hope a lot, but I don't know. But I'll see change. I'll see really good change in what we're doing. But the enormous change is going to be the next generation. All of the people who are being helped now, and then their children or their grandchildren who rise up and don't have those barriers. I wish I could live that long. I hope when I'm in heaven, I hope that's where I go, I'll look down and say, I had a little hand in this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I have a question first of all, Mr. Tarantino, about not just the timing of how many programs you're planning with the organization, but how is the copy or the similarity with the program, with the government program and the past pandemic about the relief, also the forgiveness of many loans, with a lot of scandals because many people maybe take advantage of the opportunity. But for you, it's a similarity with this program, with the government, and this is that continuous because also have a very benefits to do this kind of program for some microloans with opportunity of forgiveness. How is the similarity with the program to the government and what you are faithfully implementing now?
Well, first of all, we're private. We're not the government, and our I would say, our criteria is much simpler and much more streamlined than the government criteria. And I'm not being critical. I think the PPP loans, served a real purpose. But from our perspective, all you need to do, I'm talking about our own loans. We give money, we help fund the microloan program in the various communities, but in our loans, if you're a business, we ask that you be in good standing. If we're going to loan money to you, usually that simply means you file with the Secretary of State, and as long as we know that you're a viable business or a real business, then we will meet with you and we will find out what is your plan, what do you want to do, and how you plan on getting from where you are now to where you want to be, and how can our money help you. And then once we understand that, we meet with the person or the entity, and we try to determine what's an appropriate amount of funding. As I said, they've ranged from a few $1,000s, more than 5. Usually it's like 10 is usually the smallest amount, but 10,000 up to 99,000. And the 99,000, the IRS says, unless you want to be a lender, a traditional lender, stay below $100,000. So we cap it at 99. And we've given many 99,000 loans. We've given 75, 50, 40. It really depends on what the business needs. And you don't have to be like an LLC or a corporation. You could be just an individual who has a really small business, a DBA, Joe's Landscaping, or whatever it may be. And we give the loan to that person or entity. Our loans are similar. We don't have a forgiveness program similar to what Oscar says, but when we make a loan, it's for 10 years, 1% interest. 10 years, 1% interest, and for businesses, no personal guarantees. We do not require anyone to give a personal guarantee. Obviously, if you're an individual getting a loan, the loan's going to you, but we've had tremendous success. And the thing that really encourages me and really impresses me is that several of the businesses to whom we've made loans have said, I want to pay my loan early because I've done better than I thought. Now, they could string it along for 10 years at 1%, but they say, I'd rather have that money, I can now do it, go to somebody else. That's community. That is community. And that really heartens me and makes me feel like we're really in the right business here.
And one for the Navigant. Sandra and team, I remember last maybe 5-7 years when they started the business meetings in here in the Central Falls. One of the reasons was to try to make multiple opportunities for the Central Falls community. And I remember one of the more important things that happened in here was open accounting for non-documented people with the maybe with the 18. And another step was when they tried to give the opportunity not just to the LLC or the regular traditional companies registered. But this question is for maybe the president. How would we treat the person who's be afraid to register the businesses? Like me, I am working for more than 30 years as a DBA. I pay my taxes, I be and the IRS ready, no problem in 30 years. but I have problem when I approaching any financial institution. You're not a register. What happened with that? Even Chamber of Commerce in the past. No, you can apply for nothing. So how will be the history with the Navigant, especially because Papitto, as a private organization, try to be more flexible. Now Navigant also announced very flexibility in many loans and many ways, or many products they offer. But how are you going to do now with DBAs or persons outside who don't understand those two differences and they feel afraid to come into the banks because they are DBAs?
Right. Well, and Carlos, I don't know if Carlos is, he's right in front of me. He can speak to this. And again, I have to give kudos to Gidget's in the room and Sandra, and understanding and helping articulate to us what the obstacles were. We weren't even recognizing the ITINs, as you mentioned, around opening a deposit account. We open deposit accounts, we lend, right? We're very proud of that work that we've done, but we know that we can't stop because I think the big part for us, and I know the bulk of where Julia, Carlos spend their time, is educating the DBAs, okay? Because you don't know. This is the work we do every day, right? And we're boring in our talk. But the reality is the average small business person or sole proprietor, and many are sole proprietors, don't understand what needs to happen. To that end, John talks about in good standing. The average person doesn't know what, I'm a good person. Well, good standing translates to Secretary of State. You have to have that obligation where you register and you do your renewals, right? We take that, and that's where we start. We have this checklist and we say, these are the 5 things you need to do. Here's why, here's what they mean. And then now let's get you the access to the deposit account, the loan, online banking, all of those things that seemed insurmountable because they were told no. Oh, you can't. I remember Sandra saying, Kathy, we've got to do some work around the types of identifications that we require. I mean, that seems so basic, right? Do you have a license, right? Do you have a passport? Well, our policies were a little outdated and didn't reflect the community in which we live. So those are I know it seems simple, but that's, I think, really getting at your question.
I would like to add that part of the beauty of our partnership is that we have been working together in how Navigant refer business that need more orientation, need more information, and need education to understand what are the difference to have a DBA, to have a LLC, or to have a corporation. Mm-hmm. So I want to mention that just in 2022, we have been working with more than 60 entrepreneurs and small business, providing that guidance, referring them to other organizations that could have a specific program, like a social enterprise greenhouse, for example. Mm-hmm. And I think that this partnership creates a cycle where someone approaches the Navigant or other financial institution asking for education, for orientation, and we are providing that part, which is critical, which is huge, the difference, because the people say, oh, I have 2 years, or you say 20. With my business, I didn't know that I could change it. So I am afraid with my taxes, and we are providing that education. And that partnership has been sustained since Sandra was part of the institution, and we continue working in that.
Thank you so much. So, at this point, we're going to close the program, but, I talked briefly with the mayor, and the work doesn't stop here, because we're going to continue to support your businesses, local businesses, and to that end, Carlos, you have one assignment. You can't leave until you eat. So, I think Sandra took me here. Taqueria Lupita provided this morning's refreshments and food, so please help yourself and stay and mingle. And again, we support all of your businesses. We wish you the best. I know you will be, and if you need us, we're here. Thank you to the Chamber. Mayor, as always, thank you for the work that you do with the city. And John, what a pleasure. Continue that great work. Dave, thank you.